How
was
was it?
going to ask something about the survival trip, something that I haven't seen because I've watched some of the videos. They all came out today, and it's like 6 hours of content. And they only came out like 2 hours ago. So I don't know. I haven't seen all of it. I've just skipped around. I like how you guys went from a little bit of like hesitant optimism in the beginning. Kyle's like night zero thing of like, oh, we're gonna, I'm gonna go out, hunt some squirrels, and then by night 3 of like him sitting there like haven't seen a goddamn thing. No squirrels, no food. Woody ate 2 crawfish. Chiz hasn't done a fucking thing. Everybody thinks I'm messing around in the car, not doing anything, but I'm driving around. I'm looking at spots. Woody keeps texting me that I've been at Taco Bell 4 times, and that's something I don't appreciate. And
My night 3 confessional, I'm so angry. Like usually when Patrick would be like, let's go down to the creek and do a confessional, I'd be like, all right, I guess I'll come make some shit up for you and try to be kind of funny for a little while. Because, like, I got no complaints. I don't need to confess anything today. Like, it was just another fucking day out here in misery. But on that day, I was like, yeah, let's fucking go, Patrick. Let's go. I got something to tell you.
You were so irritable. And, that's the best part of the whole thing. If you guys haven't watched it yet, go check out the
confessions at the end of the bit. It took me until day 4 to be like, I think I fussed about Chiz, and it's awkward for me because he lives like just right outside. But I'm like, when he sees my day 4 confessional where I'm like, I thought he was gonna run out of cigarettes 2 days ago, like, he
better rationing than we gave him credit for.
I was like, to me, he's chain smoking. Every time I see him, he has like 15 to 30 butts by his feet. Now, mind you, the fire is 4 feet from him, and he's like, to drop it right there, and I'm picking up the cigarette butts all week. All week.
Why? I never understood why, though.
It's fucking disgusting, and I live there. And he smokes.
That word from Woody, I've heard this before. This is also how Woody described the back seat of my car. It's disgusting. How could I ever sit in the back seat of your car? And I'm like, well, it's a little messy. Woody, I fear you have kind of a clean freak thing going on that none of us really know about.
Guys,
and I don't think it becomes a
judge.
thing because your wife is so attentive and great that it never becomes an issue.
You guys
but
be
I
the
bet
judge.
if there was a stack of dishes behind you right now, there'd be sweat.
That's not true. I just noticed this coffee cup from like days ago. If you go to Kyle's car, the back seat, now it's a Camaro back seat, right? So it's not big. The part where your legs go across is just filled. Ooh, dishes. The part where
more. Do you want more?
I do. The part where your legs go is just completely filled, as if the seats were level, and it's all old fast food wrappers: Taco Bell, Wendy's, McDonald's, whatever it is that he's going to.
Like one back there.
No, that's not disgusting. For you to reach disgusting and vile on the Woody scale, I'll tell you what. When you made room,
You have to have 12 cigarette butts at your feet.
when you made room, so when we went, this is the survival trip with the rafting and the zip line and stuff. When he made room for me to sit there was like a person-sized mound of trash that he had created with the trash that was where people's feet go.
That's Carl. You just form this interesting person, and you get a little company.
Right?
Yeah.
So when he tells you
the-
that it was like one Wendy's bag, you know he's totally full of shit.
Yeah, that was Kyle's fast food golem that he keeps back there for company.
Cut my hand, say some words, and it comes to life. I like that.
Yeah.
You know what a golem is. That's impressive. It's a Jewish thing, right? The
It
Jews,
is.
they're the ones that put the golems on you.
It's a
Very
Minecraft
inventive
thing.
people. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, you can
But,
create them on
crafty.
the best server in the multiverse. My bad.
So yeah, it was. But yeah, he was smoking a lot. It's not what I would call chain smoking. I feel like chain smoking is like you're lighting one off the other. He was smoking, I don't know, one every 10 minutes.
How much
And
a
there
day?
was just a pack.
Every 10
fact.
minutes? I would think of that as chain smoking.
Like
but
around the
I've
fire,
smoked-
like at night around the fire. That's like he's drinking his shit coffee. That the whatever those crystals are. It's awful. I had a cup of it once. And
Is
that
it
was
Folgers?
Once, yeah, Folgers. What is
So
it?
you have to understand, he was smoking like 3 to 4 feet from me. Like the hammock in which I slept, he had another hammock with 2 trees that were close to each other that made kind of a seat. So he's smoking 3 or 4 feet from me. He'd be smoking, and the smoke is just wafting all over me. And I like, all right, well, this thing's
I couldn't believe he brought cigarettes.
this thing will end at some point. Yeah, right? Because he's supposed to stop smoking.
I thought that was part of the survival thing, like as much as like anything was, like any of our vices that we might be giving up. Like I didn't bring my auto blow with me. I'm not hooking it up to the solar power, and it's like all depressing up there.
Kyle's been in the truck for 6 hours.
I didn't bring any of the children, range from 3 to 9 that I fuck. I had to go a week without.
Yeah.
So, but he brought his cigarettes. He brought his vice. Oh, Taylor, like you've never fucked a child. Come on.
Well, you know, how do you even respond to that?
I don't know.
There's no winning combination. But
anyway,
another thing I wanted to ask about was that I haven't seen touched on yet, but the shitting situation. Were you guys all sharing a general shit spot, or was it just peppered like landmines?
Could I go first on this?
Sure.
I didn't poop the entire time. I've never gone that long without pooping in my life. I didn't poop the entire time I was out there. I was a little worried, but it never came to be. Woody has a good poop story, though.
Not, I guess. So I pooped at Walmart, which like we bought like fishing rods and stuff right there. So I pooped literally right before the trip started. And then didn't poop and poop. I expected to. I pooped in the woods many. I don't even know how many times I pooped in the woods, like 100. And so I was prepared for it. I wasn't like waiting or like trying to make it through the week. I just didn't have to poo because I really didn't eat anything until Henrietta. You know, once we ate Henrietta, that greasy bird, we deep fried her, right? Is that what? Yeah, deep frying.
Yeah, that's what you guys did.
And so we deep fried Henrietta, and it wasn't 2 hours later that I was like, you know what? I really have to poop. And I was all sweaty and yucky. So I went to the creek where there were these beaver dams, and it was like thigh deep. And I'm like, you know, this seems like a big old, you know, toilet bidet combo to me. So I pooped in the creek, cleaned up on the spot, and
wait, you squatted over the creek, like hovered, or
you just shat right in the water,
and then just shat.
I shat right in the water. But you have to understand, there's a flow, right? So when you poop here, the river is headed in a particular direction.
It goes away and gets recycled or whatever.
It's now part of a beaver dam somewhere.
We threw all of our trash right into that creek too.
That's not true.
Went right away. They were like
just
an old
disappeared.
car.
All the plastic bottles.
He had an old car battery and a bunch of used motor oil, and I was like, "What are you doing with that?" And he's like, "Recycling," and we dumped it all right in that creek.
I'm putting the oil back where it came from.
But up the hill, so it could recycle through the valley. So that way it disperses or whatever they call it.
Yeah, the vitamins get everywhere.
And dude, so I was afraid.
He was singing the Circle of Life while he did it.
In my head, I was afraid that the poop would sink right to the bottom, and then I would like have like a stepping on it thing. Now I had flip flops on in the creek, but I was worried that
Mike's stepping on a little shit. But
yeah, but instead I'm like it's floating away towards the dam, and I'm like, well, there's Henrietta. One final goodbye to that to Henrietta.
I did take a shower that trip because like I went even further down to bathe than he goes down to shit. So I was just like, well, now what do I do? Like you mentioned the dam. I'm like, but I go way past the dam to bathe to that really cool. That there's like a little pool there with pebbles at the bottom instead of like this sulfurous beaver shit that Woody bathed in the whole time.
Well, I wish I knew about yours, but mine might have been deeper. There were like.
Yours was deeper because the beavers had wallowed it out real good.
There were like 3 beaver dams, so I went to the last one, and thinking that like because the beaver dams was the area where we got our food from, so I went to the very edge of what I thought was the useful river, and cleaned up there. And only on the last day did I sort of poop and clean up. And
shit in the bathtub, literally.
And
when he came back, Chiz was more bummed out about the chicken than even I was, and I was a little bummed out about it, despite the fact
having to kill it.
So
they
here's
made
the
friends
thing:
with it.
the chicken kind of bonded with us. Like, you know, during the heat of the day, a lot of times Chiz and I would just be lying there, and this chicken would be hanging with us. And on the first day, it got loose. It was really thirsty, and I like poured some of my water in my metal cup, and it comes over there and is like drinking right out of my hand. And from then on, it was like a dog. Like it would come up to you, it would let you pet it, it would follow you around, it would kind of do this little chicken dance, all happy, and it would make gurgly noise.
This is the day that I charged the batteries, so I really wasn't present for most of this.
So like from then on, the chicken was pretty cool. So I and Chiz and I bonded with it a little bit, and we kind of liked it. And neither of us wanted the chicken to die. We didn't want to cook the chicken toward the end. I don't know what we were gonna do with it, but I wasn't. My vote wasn't kill the chicken, and neither was Chiz's. So like once it was dead, I was a little bummed out. But clearly, you know, I helped gut the thing, and I was a part of the process. Chiz was not as happy, although he did eat a lot of the chicken. So I'm not sure.
It's grief eating. Yeah.
He was so sad.
Openly weeping into his former friend.
Jordy, would you have eaten the chicken?
I wouldn't have killed it. No, because I watched the PKA. I was like, okay, before I get on the show, I gotta be up to date with everything. And then like 6 other videos came out. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to bed. But I watched the PKA. And I was like, oh, they brought the chicken. You know, I was just laughing because you guys mentioned it earlier. And then all of a sudden, you guys are like, and now we're gonna eat it. I was like, no way. And then later on in the show, you guys are eating. It's terrible. Like I wouldn't have killed it. I wouldn't even have brought a chicken. I would have brought a cow. Just bring a cow. You know. You can chop
I was
off
wondering
one
why
leg.
you guys wouldn't bring multiple chickens. Like that would have been more entertaining.
Well,
one
you
a
could
night.
have, maybe eggs.
Had to
right?
carry this thing out there.
Yeah.
If you watch the day we, like hike in, it's 30 minutes of like going through jungle and shit, like halfway in. Chiz almost dies, and so by the time we get there, we're not thinking, you know what we should have done? Brought a bunch of chickens with us. Like no, the one chicken we carried in was like a burden enough.
I brought a pet carrier, like big enough for like a cat or a small dog, and it dramatically increased like the amount of shit in my pickup, making it look. And we never used the pet carrier. Yeah, there was a lot of volume to it. Like it took like it was like a quarter of our gear was actually just the damn pet carrier. On the way out, we carried it all in one stop because there were like all the battle boxes. We were done with the packaging and stuff like that.
So yeah, the chicken was an interesting thing. I that was my idea. I think I like the idea of like befriending it and then naming it and then killing it because I knew the audience wouldn't. I knew that would shock a lot of people, and I like doing that. And it's such a weird thing to get shocked over to begin with because we all eat chicken nuggets, and like that chicken in particular came from one of those factory farms that like all your chicken comes from. I spared it from a death sentence to be a free range chicken.
It had the best week of its life. I mean, it was walking around free range at the campsite, eating like caterpillars off the ground and stuff. Now, has anyone heard the audio of the chicken death? Can you hear the machete swing or anything? That's what I want to know.
Who dealt the blow?
Blows.
Blows. Multiple times.
I watched a video on how to kill a chicken and gut it and stuff because we had like this 1-bar flaky on and off connection, and I managed to see a YouTube video, like let it queue up, and what they did is they just cut its neck and let the heart pump it out. But they had a special contraption to hold the chicken. It was basically like a upside down milk jug, and they'd put its head through the hole and they cut the bottom off, and his legs and stuff were sticking up. So anyway, they cut the chicken's neck, and his heart pumps the blood out of it really quickly. All right. Well, we didn't have that. But they did say, like, you know what? When you cut that, is it the femoral? No, the jugular. When you cut the jugular, cut it harder than you think you need to, because it's in nobody's best interest for this to take multiple tries. And I took that little piece of advice and applied it to chopping the head off. Like, I'm going to swing this machete as hard as I can swing a machete because it's in nobody's best interest, mine, Kyle, Chiz's, or Henrietta's, for this thing to take more than one swing. Well, Kyle was holding the head in place, and I was holding like the chicken body with one hand and swinging the machete with the other. I took maybe 3 or 4 practice swings in the wood to make sure that I'd be accurate enough not to take any Kyle's fingers with me. He also had a small log like over its head, and that was to protect
my hand,
to protect his fingers. Yeah. But it didn't leave me with like a strike zone that would have really helped. Like, if the log wasn't there, and I'm glad it was there, I don't want to get anyone's fingers, but it would have been easier to hit the neck. It was actually kind of difficult. Kyle says I struck it in the shoulders. I don't know.
Multiple times. Like, you hit it at the joint where the wings sort of, like the wings go in, and then the spine's right through the middle, and like that's the shoulders. I watched you cleave his shoulders in two. And then there was a lot of blood and like feathers went flying.
But the
and then I was
strike
just
zone was obscured by the log and my desire not to hurt Kyle. And, so I might have gone too low on it.
I blame myself.
Did that first strike kill it, or did you?
The second
The
strike,
third
I
one
think,
got it
killed
good.
it. I argued the second. And I think...
Yeah, he was probably dead by the second.
I think it really was the second. By the second one, I was through like his spine and his neck and whatever. It was the skin on the far side. And like even
Probably
the feathers and
two.
stuff, that was the last 2 blows. It took 4 blows, and I think by 2 it was done.
It's like I said, it was like Theon Greyjoy taking that blacksmith's head off. He's like has to kick it at the end and everything to like get the last bit to come loose. I should have done that because I've done it a lot. Like I've literally cut thousands of chickens' heads off, and I'm really aware of like what it takes to do it. You could have like if this is the chicken's head, you could have like grabbed it like this, and just kind of like slung like you were gonna body slam the chicken, and the head would have just popped right off, like, and it would have been insta killed. Like their heads are just barely on there, but you got to get the neck, like the neck itself. You could have taken that machete and like wrist flicked and like a Mortal Kombat move. It'll come right off. Their heads really are just barely on.
I killed the chicken because I've never killed anything with the exception of that one nearly dead squirrel, and I felt like it was like an experience. Can you tell how much emotionally richer I am now I've killed a chicken? And Kyle on the other hand's killed a bunch of things, and I was like, you know what? I think I'd like to take something's life. Like I'll give it a go. And
thought process, yeah.
So anyway, that's why I did it, and that's why it was hard to do because, like I said, one, my motivation not to hurt Kyle, and two, the log he was using to protect his fingers, big branch thing. Was in my memory covering part of the strike zone where you'd
Probably
want to hit
so.
it.
I next time, don't worry, I have a specially designed chicken guillotine that I'm going to be bringing along. Also have the chicken electric chair, so it's your choice.
I say the guillotine.
We'll put
I
a
have really
straw
nice
poll
one
on the
from William
subreddit.
Sonoma.
Dude.
Yeah, but I can't believe. Yeah, when you started the story saying, "Well, I wanted to get that head off, so I swung as hard as I could swing a machete." Like immediately, it's like, oh my god! Like this thing, like you can press it down like a paper cutter in one of those things that cuts cardboard for children's
works?
projects, and that would, oh yeah, it'll come right off. Like
Now, I will tell you, this particular machete was dull. Dr. Chiz literally took it and used it as a lawnmower, chopping in the dirt to clear the entire campsite.
Just hacking the ground up. Can we talk about... Can I tell the story of what happened when we got to base camp? All right, so we get there, and we agree on the spot. It's a little bit above the river, and we agree on the spot, whatever. But there's like grasses growing out of the ground. It's not like a leafy undergrowth there. It's grasses. I feel like they had burnt this area to like prevent lots of buildup, like that causes the big forest fires. I feel like they had done that, maybe a year or two in the past because there was scorched wood as well. Anyway, there's tall grass, like maybe shin height, knee high, and he's just hacking it all down with his machete, which I was just thinking, like, why are you doing that? And his hacks he wants it short. And then I realized he wants it gone. He's pulling it up by the roots, and he's gardening over there. he's tilling the earth as if we're gonna plant corn and start a new life. But he just wants a soft, like, cushy spot to tread on.
Just a big old ashtray for him.
Then he gets out the shovel and he starts fucking digging this huge hole right in the middle of the campsite. And I'm just sitting over there watching it. And he's like, I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm digging a fire pit. And I'm thinking, like, I guess I'll just continue to gather the firewood by myself then. I'm just like, I'm not going to stop this fire pit nonsense. I'll just go along with it. When I came back, he had a hole like this big, like big enough to like he could get down in it maybe. And they were making it deep. Like it was going to be like this deep, I think.
And then I showed up.
And then Woody shows up and he's like, Chiz now has Patrick digging the hole, of course. Patrick's over there like breaking his back. She's just like, yeah, it's real good.
So he
like
gave him the old Tom Sawyer treatment of like, you ever painted a fence before? Oh, you got to try digging this hole. It's great.
Some old school American trickery he pulls on Patrick somehow. You ever dig a hole? Oh, you've never lived. Patrick's digging this deep ass hole in the middle of the forest, and Woody's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I immediately put a stop to it. They're like, we're digging a hole for the fire. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the opposite of what we want. Neither of them knew. They weren't camping people.
You want the least amount of air as possible getting to the fire, right? Otherwise, it'll blow out.
Taylor, I didn't know what you knew, but I do now. You know. Yes. Yeah, if you put the fire in a hole, you're pretty much smothering it. Only the top of it is getting any air, and you want the base of it to be breathing. So we filled in the hole and had better fires all week.
Do you think that he actually thought that was the thing to do?
Yeah.
Or he just was like manufacturing a task for him? Or Kyle's like, hey, I'm going to go get some firewood. Want to come help? Chiz is like, oh, no, I've got a fire hole. I'm on fire hole duty.
It's one of the reasons why it's hard to work in groups, because everybody wants to be doing something. And everybody, sometimes you'll pick a task in your head. You're like, oh, this thing needs to get done, and it's going to be my thing. And if anybody comes in and is like, hey, your thing's really not important. It's like, oh, how dare you? How dare you invalidate me and my thing? So it can be really touchy. So like, I don't like to say anything when somebody's doing their thing.
Meanwhile, it took me a nanosecond. What's this whole shit? We can't have
Put that cigarette out. Fill this up.
I felt like the only thing that we should have, I felt like more of everyone's time should have been spent gathering firewood. I felt like I gathered so much goddamn firewood. I would go off into the woods and I'd bring back these trees that were about this big around, like not a huge tree, right? I get it. But a tree nonetheless. It's like 12 feet long. And I'd have at least 2 of them, maybe 4 of them, like 2 in each hand. And I'd drag them all the way back to camp and I'd drop them. And I'd look. And Chiz would have like this much of something. He'd be like, I got some good shit right here. Oh yeah, it's some good shit right here. Throw it in the pile and then go walk way off again. And I'm just like huffing and puffing, like I'm changing shirts in the middle of fire gathering to evaporate the sweat more readily. And like I'm just like, yeah, that's some good stuff, Chiz. And I'm just like back for my trees again.
First of all, what Kyle says is correct. Like everything he just said is accurate. The thing is, while he was gathering the firewood, I was usually making the fire. Like, making the fire isn't always great. Like, it's the soil's moist, so if you kneel in it and stuff, your pants get like they soak in the water. Now you've got wet knees. You're on your hands and knees building it up from tiny little twig to branch to what's after twig? I don't know. From like straw stuff to twig to thicker twig to branches to logs, etc. And I'm on my hands and blowing on it. Took us 4 days to figure out you could fan it with a box. And was that you? And I'm blowing it, I'm getting it up. So while I didn't collect as much wood as Kyle, I would argue I put in every bit as much effort into the fire.
I would have swapped places, but I appreciated what you did.
I would have swapped places too. As a matter of fact,
God, I wish I'd known that.
Yeah, on the last night, there was a little bit of. It was like, is anyone else ever going to start a fire? Like every fire all trip long has been me.
I felt like that was your thing. You seemed like you were happy to be doing it and to be the one doing it. I want to step on your thing. That's what I was talking about before.
It was only until the last day when I gave it away, and I think they filmed it too. Like you're on whatever, it's not up yet, but like day 5 is you starting the fire.
Yeah, I start the fire from like the embers from the night before. I like gather them up and put them in some stuff and blow them into fire and create a thing. Yeah, that was fun.
Kyle was good at fire. Yeah. I did that in the morning, I think.
Nobody filmed it, did they?
No, but you were impressed by it. You saw it. You were like, you missed what Woody did this morning. You mentioned it out loud.
Okay.
What was the most enraging thing that someone else did on the trip that you didn't feel comfortable blowing up at the moment? Like, because you have to have that camaraderie. Like, what did someone do that just made you so fucking mad, but you were like, I can't ruin the morale the rest of this trip? It could be either one of you two, but I have a feeling they're both going to be Chiz. Can't wait.
There was so much. I felt like there was a little bit of complaining going on the walk in, and I honestly, like, I'm not in an amazing shape or anything.
Take a pause. I complained 0.
True. Woody makes a point of being like the guy who will never complain. Like he feels like, and maybe that's a thing. Maybe I'm just like not as manly as Woody is. But I don't think ignoring stuff and like pretending like it doesn't faze me is a gold star, really. Like I'm more than happy to let you know about my personal level of discomfort at any point during the day, except for the walk-in, right? Like, let's keep morale high. Like, we haven't even made it there yet, and I can hear him back there like, where is this place? Are you taking us the hardest way possible? where is it? Are we there yet? And I'm just like, no, we're not there yet. We got a long ways to go. We're like you told me to pick out a survival trip spot. Like, keep surviving. It's that fucking way. Like, and granted, on the walk in, I did take us the most difficult possible way imaginable to our campsite. Not on purpose either. We figured out the easiest route by the end of the trip, but on the way in there, it's pretty brutal. And I don't mean to be this about like picking on Chiz, but it's funny not because Chiz is lacking anyway. It's funny because Chiz is from Sacramento. He's not an outdoorsy guy. He's never done any of this stuff, and so to watch someone do it for the first time,
he mentioned that was the most exercise he'd ever had in his life. That walk in.
And then sleeping for 4 days, and then walking out.
And smoking.
His shoes. That's where I was headed with this. His shoes. His footwear for this thing. Now, Woody had some hiking shoes.
I remember.
Woody had some hiking shoes. They look legit, and they look like they'd hiked some. I liked Woody's shoes. Patrick wore sneakers, which I didn't have a problem with that, really.
Sneakers.
Yeah. I got really scared of snakes because I started reading the night before on the internet, and apparently there's like rattlesnakes in this place, and it's a bit of an issue. And then I like read on some board somewhere, some forum, they were like, yeah, those timber rattlers are the worst down there around Route 82 at the end of that last road. And I'm like, shit, that's where we fucking are. Like that's where we are. So I went and got like really high boots at Walmart. They weren't snake boots because Walmart doesn't sell snake boots, but I got like big, rugged, like legit hiking wilderness boots or something. And Chiz had loafers.
I noticed that.
He wore loafers all
first
trip.
video. And it must have been like 20 minutes into your walk or something, because you were still pretty spry. You know, the camera guy was going fine, Patrick was, and Woody seemed fine, but Chiz, his footfalls were like the heavy footfalls of a child who didn't get what they want for Christmas. Just like, how much farther is it? Like
when we got to the campsite, like, I think I said something like, all right, well, let's get doing this, or I'm going to walk up ahead or something. You want to come? And Chiz was like, I think my feet are bleeding. And I was thinking like, well, you dressed like we're going to church, bro. Like,
you wore Birkenstocks. What were you thinking?
Birkenstocks would have been a step up. He wore these loafers that like he called them boat shoes, but I'd never heard him called
Was he
that.
wearing Sperry's?
I don't know if they were legit Sperry's. Wait, he once linked what they were. I can't search my Skype because
everybody likes to make fun of those Keen. The things that I wear are called Keen, Keen sandals, and they're like they're made.
Were they $105?
They were expensive. They were like $120, $130 or something.
Yeah, I saw them at we went to this Bass Pro place. I was like, those are Kyle's shoes. Wow, they're triple digits. Carry on.
Yeah, as ugly as they are, they're like perfect if you're going to be hiking around water sources and going in and out of water and stuff like that. They dry right off, but they cover enough of your foot that they're protective footwear, and they're good for, being out where we were.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
And like when I first saw them, I was like, wow, that's kind of expensive. I don't know. I mean, it was a purchasing mistake. You have worn them on the first survival trip, the second survival trip, on the whitewater rafting trip, and I don't know what other, like.
When I go hiking, I wear them. Like my ex-girlfriend got me my ex-girlfriend got me into hiking, and she was like, well, you need hiking shoes, and we bought some hiking shoes. She had the same ones, and apparently all her hiking buddies, like, those are the ones they wear. So as ugly as they are and as lame as they are, I'm not trying to impress anybody in the woods.
Yeah, Kyle's right. When Chiz walked in, he was really unhappy with it, and he would talk to me privately about it, and like expecting to sort of commiserate on how terrible the walk was, and I didn't really. I was like, he said it was far. What I had in my mind's eye for a perfect campsite was a little closer to the truck. I thought we were going to kind of use the truck as a charging station for batteries more often than we had to, so I thought it'd be a little closer, but. Whatever. It was a 30-minute hike. Like, it's not the.
In retrospect, that I would have done. In retrospect, there was a place like 20 yards off the road with like these big stones that someone had laid together and made a fire thing, and all the ground was clean. And there was even like, and there was a beautiful scene there too, with a creek running down a mountain.
That sounds
we should have been.
Next year.
You'd have been parked next to the car. Like, you'd have been like, I'm tired of this shit. Like,
we'd have had to move the
that
truck.
Was it. Yeah.
The truck.
You would have looked like such an ass if you went to a place like that. Already cleared out, stone pillars. There's one of those like wrought iron steel grills. That's like, the last person didn't clean it off. Roughing it, like,
you got to still brush out. No,
Yeah.
I felt like where we were was really far in there. Not distance wise, but I mean, I don't know if that makes any sense. It took a while to get back out.
So, Marco,
were
what
out
was your
there.
question? What was the thing that pissed people off that we didn't
not
talk
people,
about?
Just you. Like, what made you resent someone else on the trip a lot, but that you couldn't convey in any of the videos for fear of like ruining morale or pissing someone off? Or
Nobody was 100% sure that Kyle was hunting in the morning. Kyle would get up quietly so as not to bother anyone. And the truth is, I slept through it every time. But Chiz and Patrick both talked to me about their experience of witnessing Kyle. Like Elmer Fudd hunting for Wabbit. Quietly, like getting out of his hammock so as not to make any noise whatsoever. Not even like stepping on a dried leaf on his way as he gets out of camp so as to be sure that he doesn't bring anybody with him. That was our interpretation of it. The cameraman would have loved to have filmed Kyle, hunting. But like it just really didn't seem welcome. Chiz would have liked to have gone. No, and then Kyle's method of hunting is to make a beeline for his truck and drive places. And then he comes back fucking whistling, he's singing, he's like skipping and happy, and we're like, there is Taco Bell in that motherfucker's belly.
You were waiting for one morning where like all three of them were sitting around the fire. Kyle wakes up, walks out, and they just have a fire sauce packet in between them. Like, hey, Kyle, what's this?
All right, so let me explain all this. Okay, so you're absolutely right. I would wake up really early, but it was like I usually sleep with like dark curtains. So like if the sun shines in my eyes at all, I'll wake up. So every morning, the sun's at about 9:30. It'd come up high enough to wake me up. So I'd get up out of bed and start getting ready. You were almost always snoring. Patrick was usually snoring as well. And I really genuinely didn't want to wake anybody. I like growing up, like I always tiptoed around the house. Still to this day, I'm almost 30. I tiptoe not to wake anybody, and so I genuinely just didn't want to wake anyone. I as much as I wanted a cameraman with me on the hunting thing, I was thinking like, I haven't killed shit. Like I know that his presence, we're gonna be talking. He's gonna be over there, like not sitting still, like. Until I actually achieve something, like maybe it's not time to bring a whole crew with me and film my failure for the next 2 hours.
And you don't want to share your flamethrower Whopper.
Even on day one, and this might be true. This might be true, but it just seems so skeptical to us. He's like, you know what? Now, mind you, we hiked in like 30 minutes. He relied on it. He's got a GPS app in his phone. Right, not a regular one, like one built for hikers where you can set these waypoints in the woods that show you where the creeks are. And he's like, ooh. I accidentally went straight to my truck on the first day.
I did go straight to my truck. If that was true, then I've been hunting for over an hour and a half. And the way I would try to squirrel hunt, even though I've never done it before, I've read a little bit about it. I would go from spot to spot, sit on a rock or a stump or something, and just try not to move and watch the trees for half an hour to 45 minutes, an hour, and then I'd move to the next spot. And it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours when I sent that text message. It's probably still in our phone thing. You could see like when I sent that. But I started hunting at like 9 in the morning. So at some point, like I found that green field, which was confusing. And I kept walking, and I made my way back to the road, and I found the trucks, and I was like, I've hunted all this part here. I know if I go back, then I just walk through the camp, and there's nothing there. It's those bushes between the road and us. I was like, I've seen squirrels here before. I should drive around, see if I can see them out the window, and then just pull over, walk into the woods, and hunt where the squirrels are. And I thought that was a good idea, and so I did. And I told you guys about it.
There was just a...
the whistling thing. Let me explain that. I didn't want to look like a pussy at any point, but I was legitimately afraid of those snakes. And so, like, all the time when I was walking, I was trying to whistle or clap or, like... I was
shouting the bad thoughts out of your head.
Singing.
To make the snakes hear me coming, because the fear is stepping on one.
Mm-hmm.
If you step on it, it's not going to rattle, it's just going to bite you. And like I was so afraid because there was like this undergrowth of green stuff that meant that there was like 8 inches of like ground you couldn't see. Like there was the ground, and then there was this green stuff above it, and you couldn't really see where you were stepping. And I was scared shitless walking through it all the time.
Kyle mentioned how many times he went to his truck. Like every time he went hunting, he even said that one of his hunting techniques was to look out the window of his truck and just like look for squirrels and shit. And
By
he
the
seems
last day,
so
I was
much
ready
more.
to pull a drive-by.
He
I
seems so
totally
much
was.
more connected to the outside world. Like I was, in my mental state anyway, lost in the woods without a real great way to get back to civilization. Kyle was like, oh, yeah, we don't really know how to cook this bird. I can get some canola oil. I'll just walk back, head off to Walmart, grab some
would
oil in a
totally- yeah.
pot. And,
It's true.
And he was just much more like...
I felt like I offered that, and I'm always offering my ideas up for the group to review.
That's true.
Just like
That's
with
true.
the cookies. When I got those cookies, I did not eat a single fucking cookie. I left them all wrapped up, and I informed the group. I was like, hey, this guy just gave me cookies. I know that sounds insane. A guy just gave me fucking cookies back here. He was like some 70-year-old guy. I honestly don't know the origin, but he said something about his wife sends him out here to give them to the boys. I looked; they were expiring like the day before he was giving them to us. So they were like, I don't know, maybe they own a country store or something, and they're just giving away expired cookies. But I didn't eat them, and I didn't think we should eat them, if I'm being honest. So when Chiz replied back like, "Bring them,"
I have it. I just want to check this thing. Here, I don't know if I can show this to you guys very well, but Kyle wrote.
Here, just read it.
Okay. An old guy just drive by and gave me muffins and cookies. I swear to God.
Because I knew it was outrageous to even believe.
And then Chiz says something about where keys are. And then Chiz says, in all capital letters, I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Bring them back and share. That's surviving. No way.
And I was like, haha, funny joke in my head, and then continued hunting.
And then Kyle
Because
wrote, I won't open them. Battery dying, FYI. And then he came back with no cookies. And
yeah, I didn't bring the cookies back because I didn't think, I didn't eat any. I just left them in the vehicle. I figured, shouldn't do it. But then the group was like, nah, bring those motherfucking cookies. That's surviving. You foraged for those.
Yeah, he
You
was
went out
indigenous to
hunting
the
for
area.
food,
He was no
and
different
you
than a
got
deer.
some.
He's just like a
Like-
deer.
So I was like, all right, I'll bring them back. And I ate some cookies too. Yeah, those cookies were delicious. They were much better than Henrietta was.
Jordy, do you have any camping experience? Any timberman?
I do, but it's just on like in the south of France, and we just go camping with the family. But no hunting. I never killed anything.
Not even like a kitten or something.
I didn't
No,
like for fun.
only
just when you were a
only
kid?
like 2 kids like last summer, but that was about it.
His
They're
name
still in
is
the
Jordy.
basement, so
It would have been funny to bring Wings on the trip, and he's like, all right, I know how to do this. By day 1, stick the chicken under a bucket. By day 4, it's
Well,
dead now. We're good.
See, we kill him and cook him simultaneously. Just put him under his bucket. Yeah, it's nice. Put it next to the fire.
What
They're
happened?
cooking the Georgia sun. Like,
What, shit,
so
I
what's
was-
camping in southern France like?
well,
Like, I don't-
the
I
weather's
don't have-
great, and you just put up your tent and then get really drunk at night at the campfire.
Sounds
Pick up
like
all
Georgia.
the French girls, And,
All wine. I have picture
Yeah,
all wine.
wine and dirty cheese.
Where are you
It's-
from? Are you
I'm
French?
from Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Aha.
Yep. I'm
Is
one
pot-
of those.
How legal is pot there? Like my mom told me that they were like outlawing it and sort of scaling back on all the coffee shops and stuff.
Yeah, so like most drugs aren't illegal here, but they just don't really care if you use it. It's decriminalized. So I think it's less legal than in some states in America, but you can have up to 2 ounces, I think, if that's the correct
Wow.
term. Like
You look
10
like someone who
10
knows
grams
their
of
drug
drugs.
laws.
Like I know my drug laws. I don't do drugs, okay?
Uh-huh.
Like everybody's always like, "Oh, you live in Amsterdam. Oh, you must do drugs and go to the red light district like every day."
Not every day. Sunday
Well,
you
like
gotta
every
rest.
other day, okay?
Yeah, yeah,
Every
yeah.
other Sunday, right?
Yeah,
after
that's what
church.
I tell them. Yeah, but you can just go up to it's called a coffee shop, and you don't buy coffee over there. You buy weed over there. So you just walk into a store like a bar, and then you just go like, okay, could I have 2 joints, please? Or you go, could I have 10 grams of weed, please? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then just hand you over the weed, and you can smoke it in the place, or you can go outside on the streets and
No.
smoke it outside of the streets.
Is it a somewhat embarrassing experience, or is it just like buying
Oh,
groceries?
no. It's like they're all like the bar is like you're walking into just a place people are chilling out, just with their friends. And it's like buying a pack of cigarettes. Like when I used to grow up, I didn't know the difference.
Disgusting and vile.
Well, it's even even less frowned upon. I'd say out of personal experience. Like if someone's smoking marijuana here, it's like, okay, you're smoking weed. Sure, you're one of those guys. But if someone's smoking cigarettes, it's like, why are you smoking cigarettes? It's stupid. It's killing you. But like I don't really care about it like at all if someone does it. But I think cigarettes smell, and marijuana has like a pretty good smell to it.
It does.
Chiz and I were trying to push Chiz once for an Amsterdam PKA trip, or at least one that stopped in Amsterdam along the way. I saw this one place where like all the buildings or maybe the streets were like these rainbow colors, and I thought that looked really cool. And I guess there's a lot of historical stuff there and some cool museums.
Yeah, it's not just weed and prostitutes and bikes.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
I was like, what are you?
just on those two things.
It's not just weed and prostitutes, Woody. There's going to be stuff for you too. And
That's
and he was
the
just
problem
like,
I have. Yeah, it's always like,
museum.
oh yeah, go. Imagine what going to Amsterdam with Kyle is like, right?
Yeah.
Okay, imagine.
They're really cheap, by the way.
let's get a patron level for that. Go to Amsterdam with Kyle.
Yeah, right.
I think $6,000 will do it. That'll get my ticket, your ticket, and a little spending cash. We'll have a great time.
If you go to Amsterdam with Kyle and you're not into prostitutes and weed, I'm messing this up. Then I feel like you're going to spend a lot of time on park benches waiting for Kyle to finish his fun.
I wonder what.
There are no benches over there, by the way. Just saying, you have to stand and wait. Like
You're not selling it.
That would promote hobos.
No benches.
Hobos coming into your area, living on them.
There like almost no hobos, like because we have these shelters.
Because it's cold.
So it's at the moment it isn't really cold, but like winter, like peak winter, it's pretty cold. But all the hobos, they get free shelters because they're like, yeah, we don't want these guys on the street. Let's just put them into these buildings we don't use anyways.
Yeah.
They get free food. They get
burn the building down. Probably.
Yeah. They close it off and they go like fight it out. Like
the final solution.
Hunger Games.
Right.
That's what should be done. They should give them a bunch of free pot. Let them wander around until they find their way into another one of those little European countries. And
well, what they do,
your problem.
yeah, with the guys that drink too much is instead of locking them up and just giving them jail time, like these hobos that drink a lot, they pay in booze. So they're like, okay, if you like, they gotta clean the streets, keep everything clean, and they just get paid in like beer bottles. It's really weird. Like that's Amsterdam
in
for you.
bottles, like beer in the bottles.
There's legit beer, like or cans or whatever, beer cans. But they get paid.
Come on, Woody, this sounds great. He's not selling it to you? Maybe we could volunteer at one of these homeless shelters.
Hey, that's the PKA adventure. Is we do Good Samaritan work in the Netherlands and see how long we can survive on weed and booze. Are you down? Yeah.
Like if you would ever to come up.
Last one to get syphilis wins.
Terrible week, especially after Henrietta. Post Henrietta, I had a breath of fresh air.
How did that taste?
She was
stringy
and tough. She was overcooked and stringy somehow, but
we boiled her before we fried her. I think that's part of the problem.
we cooked her. The boiled her for way too long, and I knew it. I was like, I think we were just supposed to dip her, and Kyle's like, more is better. I'm like,
and it was so
leave it in there.
We boiled her so good that when I go to pluck the feathers, all the skin comes off in my hand, and I'm just like, well, keep going. So I rip all the skin off.
Skinless fried chicken.
But I was the one that
I boiled my fucking hand.
On his glove. I was the one that cut the meat off the bone, or at least like 90% of it. And so the pieces were too small. Like a better version of me might have carved it like a turkey dinner, but I just felt like, I don't know, like it was hard to do.
Those were appropriate. No, I thought that those pieces were perfect, like for what we were doing. I think it was bad because we boiled it for too long beforehand. Because if you remember, as you're cutting the meat off the chicken, it's already white. And it was cutting super easy, like cooked chicken almost. Like, we boiled that chicken.
And I didn't have,
but if you cut it in bigger pieces, even if it was a little boiled, you could have thrown the bigger piece with the bigger surface area into the oil, let it sit for just as long to crisp up the outside, and it's not going to make it as, dense and,
bigger pieces would have been better, I think. But,
sure.
And also it was a small chicken. Like, it wasn't like I don't know if it was full-grown meat bird or whatever, but it wasn't a big example of a meat bird, right?
Yeah, it still didn't have those fucked up legs that they show on the Discovery Channel
He
trying
had
to
a
kill
fucked up
Yeti.
toe. Kyle had a chicken voice. I don't know that I can do it, but he's like, "Hey guys, we're friends now. You want to fix my dislocated toe?" Like, what?
Yeah, he had that one little broken toe.
Yeah,
I was
one
like,
toe went off to the side. He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna live forever together, right?"
Yeah. Is that what you guys think it was thinking as you were holding it down? Hey, after we're done here, I'm gonna go back eat some more bugs near your bunk. Notice they were getting to be a bit of an issue.
Why?
Had to go.
Looking at you like
I've-
the bad guy in those movies where they're already shot, just kill me. Like,
I felt
it.
bad.
finish it.
I felt so bad. I didn't want to kill that fucking chicken. There was nothing to eat though. There was no animals in those goddamn woods that would come anywhere near us. Like I saw lots of tracks from the beaver, and I saw lots of pig tracks too. And I think I probably could have went over there like above us and like hunted over that like ditch, but I just didn't want to. That's really the reason I didn't go. It might have been a good idea, but like I didn't even know where I'd go.
I just can't believe you didn't get anything.
We didn't
Like,
see
that's
any.
almost
Woody
embarrassing.
said he saw a squirrel one day.
Yeah, but I didn't have a good shot at it. I was fishing, and I was like fishing with 2 rods, so I'm really out in the woods, quiet, for like hours. And while I'm there, I've got my shotgun next to me, like just in case a thing happens. Because if you're quiet in the woods, and there was like feral pig tracks near me and beavers dams near me, and I'm fishing, and it's like this is the place where all the animals seem to come. I'll sit here with my shotty in case they do, and. In the trees, I looked up and I heard like the squirrel rustle, and then you know how you look through the leaves and like there's little patches of blue sunlight. He jumped across it, and I'm 100% sure I saw a thing. Could have been a bird, could have been a squirrel, a spider monkey. I don't know, but I saw it jump across, and then I grabbed my gun and I waited for any kind of hint that like I just something moves again. I'm going to shoot that spot. And that I didn't get that opportunity. And I nearly shot the spot anyway. Yeah, I nearly shot it anyway. I'm like, well, it seems like he went from there to there. I'll just shoot, and maybe the buck will spread and hit a thing. But I didn't shoot it. Nothing I couldn't see.
Did you guys shoot at all?
No, but at
Like
the very
anything?
end of the trip.
Or did you like, fuck this shit, and just start shooting in the air, trying to hit some birds or something?
Well, our cameraman was British. And it was like, well, you know, since you don't live in a real country, I'll give you an opportunity to experience a little freedom. And he shot my shotgun. So
How do you like
Did you hit anyone?
Well, I know I had him aim at a bank of dirt, so we know where everything was going. And he said the recoil was not as bad as he expected it to be. He's like, so I guess this is like not a bad one. I was like, that's a 12 gauge shotgun. That's really as bad as most normal guns get.
Yeah, it was a pretty legit shell in there too.
Yeah. So people, I don't know. Most grown men, and he's a grown man, don't like have a huge problem with gun recoil. You know, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. So how were the crawdads? You were the only one who ate one.
Bad. I see now. I watched a video on how to cook them in advance, and apparently it involves a lot of fresh water. Like you catch them and then you rinse them. Just pour lots of water off them until they look until the water running off them is clean, which can take like 15 minutes, and then you cook them and you repeat that process. You know, tons of clean, clear water until like post cooking you did that. We didn't have access to any of that kind of water, so we just tossed them, cooked them, and then I ate it. And
To our credit, though, they smelled great. Like I poured a bunch of paprika and salt in the water till it was like foggy and red. And when they came out of that water, they looked and smelled like something that you would get in a restaurant.
They did. And but the problem is once I like took the shell off. And I read, like, you snap its head off and you suck out the inside. There was so much poop in there that I'm like, I'm not sucking that out. And I'm, like, scooping the poop out with my finger. And I don't even know if I got anything from the head at all because it was just filled with shit. And then I go to the rest of it, and I'm like, there's poop everywhere. But there's, like, in the middle of it, there's like a ditch almost, like it's V-shaped, the insides of his body. So I'm just like pulling that thing out, scooping that out. And by the time you get all the shit out, you're like, wow, it seems like 60% of the content of a crawdad is shit. And I'm like trying to nibble You know, and I'm like, yeah, it's very small. The two crawdads combined had about as much meat as my pinky, maybe.
Doubt that much.
like,
I doubt it.
It really.
I ripped mine in half too. I say mine, the one I picked up. I ripped it in half too, and I looked. And you're right. It was just like there was some white meat in there that looked a lot like lobster meat. It kind of ringed the interior of the thing. But in the center cavity, that's where it keeps a whole bunch of shit.
All that
I don't know
shit.
why there's that much shit in there.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's that much shit in me right now. Like it was a huge amount, and it was just like I gotta like. And like it was like washing, and I was like, nah, I don't want to eat anything that's just been adjacent to shit, much less like covered in shit. Like you have a snack there covered in shit, I'll pass.
Yeah,
So-
that's just very true. And in my head, I was still thinking like, all right, you know, I can catch like a couple of these a day. I can survive. I can thrive out here in the woods. And I watched a lot of survival programs, and they're like dead tired, you know, barely able to make it. They catch like one lizard, and suddenly they're like, all right, second wind. You know, with this lizard protein, I can catch more lizards and build a net and a structure and all that fun stuff. And I thought that was going to happen to me, but no. Like...
I was like, you know what, Woody? You have them both.
You've earned it. You know?
That's what
You remember this when we get that squirrel. I want that to pay it forward. You know?
There was just hardly any food in that thing. The seasoning was nice. Kyle was smart to bring that, but there was not much food in a crawdad. I
I
think
figured you would at least go back and try again, like on a subsequent day. Like you can try making it differently or something. Like you seemed really hungry and irritable. All of you.
in hindsight, I wish I had spent more time hunting. I don't know. It just would have been. I haven't really done any hunting, and it's not that much effort. Like if me hunting, I would have just gone deep enough that I wasn't anywhere near the campsite or within earshot of it, and done a lot of waiting. Like go to a comfortable spot and wait for like 90 minutes, and see if I could get anything. Because that almost worked with the fish, but you know I just wasn't paying attention to the sky as much as I would have been had I been focused on squirrel. But I didn't really do that.
Did you guys get a nibble of any fish the entire time?
No, nor the water was clear, so you could
Never
really
saw the
see. I never saw a fish or any hint that there might have been a fish, and it was really only deep enough to house like fish of eating size,
There
right
was a
where
big
we were.
fish in there. I swear to God, like that day that I was back there and I sent those pictures and everything, I saw a catfish that was like long. It was like this.
Kyle's
long.
talking about several days before the trip.
Yeah, it like I was like standing on that bank and it swam toward me and under the bank I was standing on and I was just like, holy shit! Like this is the spot. Clearly, like this is a pond with fish in it out in the wilderness. Like, but no, not even close. And we were like trying to sling our hooks into like the crevice that I thought he was in, and like it just.
I spent a lot of time with bait right where Kyle said the fish was, and there was never any evidence that a fish had been there.
Nope.
What about insects? Did you guys eat any insects like
Oh,
bugs?
thousands. Oh, constantly the whole time I was eating insects. No, fuck no. No.
Well, you can deep
Maybe
fry
10
those too. They're like it's pretty nice.
You
What?
throw
It's like
one
a
of
nice snack.
It's just to go poof and be gone. Like there's no deep frying it. What do you batter up a scorpion or something?
Yeah, I
There's-
don't know.
Yeah,
There weren't
Some
any
caterpillars.
So, I mean, hypothetically, you're in the
Treat
woods and
Or
you
worms.
and you have muffins. How many insects do you eat?
True.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
you
still,
could
if you're
try
like
at
really
least
hungry.
one.
Yeah.
You could have tried deep frying like a
For the video, right?
cricket. It wouldn't
I
even
didn't see any
be
crickets.
mushy or anything after you
Use
deep
your
fry it.
shotgun to take it out. You know.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Take out
I saw one snake. I saw a woodpecker.
I saw one unidentified squirrelish thing. I saw two crawdads. I caught both of them, or crawfish I call them, and that's it.
Did you like the picture of the meal that I texted you guys?
No, we didn't.
No. Have you watched the video of me catching the second crawfish? No?
I haven't seen it, no.
There was like 40 minutes of footage of me in this epic battle trying to bring a crawfish. I don't know how he edited it down, but it was
When you're grabbing them and they were flipping at you, that was my favorite part.
This is when he was still, you know, like in the basically I had a rod and I would bring him over. I'd get him like 2 inches closer to shore and then he'd let go. And I'm like casting it again. I got really good at aiming the casting. It wasn't that far from me. And I'd just like drag the bait right by him and he'd grab it and I'd get him like 6 inches over and he'd run 4 back. And just, it took a long time for me to get him onto shore where I could catch him. Like a long time.
I'm up
Just
for
to have
watching.
Shitty.
I'm up for
trip.
watching some if you want to. I haven't seen any of the video yet.
I have a
so
whole new topic. I don't know if you want to get off survival talk.
that was fun. I enjoyed having Patrick. There was a little bit like I know he got some hate from some people because it took him a little while to get you know, the videos rendered and edited and uploaded and all that. And I wish that had gone down faster. But as far as my experiences with Patrick on that trip, A1.
Yep.
He never bitched and complained. He had real food out there.
What was
And
What'd you
What?
say?
what was he eating?
SpaghettiOs.
Just
yeah, he was eating
Ramen
SpaghettiOs.
noodles.
And he would be careful like he didn't even want to eat the SpaghettiOs in front of us because they thought they were too tasty. And whenever we were like picking foods out at Walmart, like he didn't want to get anything that was going to like smell really good and like be annoying to us. And I was telling him, I was like, you should get that fettuccine Alfredo over there in that packet. You just add boiling water and it's going to be really tasty. And like he was like, nah, I'll just get this awful like spaghetti and meatballs and ramen noodles. And yeah, he was
Yeah.
really cool about that.
He also
never
didn't eat that much. He felt bad about eating in front of us. And of course he had some meals, but you know, it wasn't like he had 3 squares.
What a nice guy. I would have done the exact opposite. I would have got delicious smelling food and then got like a pumpkin pie candle just to have on. You guys don't mind, do you? Like,
Yeah. He was a really good guy. There was a Reddit thread that was like, Woody was totally harsh on that guy. And a lot of people were like, wow, that sounds terrible. What a jerk. But it was an unreleased PKN. And like no one could actually see. I wasn't a jerk at all. Like I was not nearly hard. I listened. I was like, give me timestamps. I don't know what you're talking about. I listened to it and it was just me explaining like, yeah. You know, he was editing in Premiere Pro. He was trying to encode with Media Encoder, but it kept failing. And it was a particularly slow kind of fail. Like it would render for 4 hours or something. I made that number up. And then it would stop at 99% for like 4 hours before he gave up on it and said, well, I guess it's just never going to do that last percent. And that kind of thing is super time consuming.
Yeah. So regardless of all that, I thought he did a great job. I enjoyed hanging out with him when we did. He wasn't like annoying or didn't have a grating personality. You know, I was kind of worried. You know, we're about to go spend a week with a stranger in the woods. Like, are we gonna end up like kicking this guy's ass and like having a really frustrating time with him or something? Like, what's gonna go down? But he fit in just fine. Never had an issue with him. Never got mad at him at all.
that's good.
Did you get mad at me?
It's a yes, because it wasn't
No,
an
I-
immediate no.
Yes, with the Taco Bell comments. Yeah, that pissed me right off. Like, yeah, that's in the night. That's in one of those confessionals. I feel if that's up, we should play that. If my confessional, when like I was just fed up and
That was
really
was
like,
that day 4?
I think it's 3. I think it's 3.
There isn't 3 the one we watched? No, we watched 2.
We watched 2. I think that I would be totally down for watching night 3 confessionals because I think I let both of you have it. I'm like, I give both. I'm just like, this one shouldn't have done this, and then I had things for both you and Chiz that I
You
was
motherfucker!
unhappy.
You would go sneak out of camp every morning, go straight to your truck, and not return. The day Katie got locked out of the house, 45-minute drive each way. Right, it says an hour and a half. He's gone for 2.5 or 3 hours.
Oh, that's That's not
Yeah.
true.
And he's like, I had a
like,
Pepsi, but I swear I turned down this spiced ham sandwich she offered me.
That's not even like.
That's why you didn't shit the whole time. You took a nice, comfortable porcelain poop when you got back there.
No, I didn't. No, I went back. I drank a Diet Pepsi out of the refrigerator, and I came back, and I didn't have
No
a choice.
calories.
She fucking locked herself out of the house. Like Kitty leaves her keys. There's a deadbolt and there's a bottom one. She used the wrong key. There's nothing I could fucking do.
He had to help her.
I believe you. I'm just giving you shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's no big deal.
Yeah.
If you
I
had gotten
wanted-
Taco Bell, that would have been the smart move.
There's really not even any restaurants on the way between my house and the place. That's what I was telling Chiz. I was like, I probably would have stopped if there was something on the way. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
That whole thing was awful. Yeah, that pissed me off, and I think I was mad about. I don't know what my problem with Chiz was. It was probably something about him doing nothing, or I think I mentioned. We should watch it. Can we watch it?
Okay, all right.
That's what
yeah.
it was. You were very adamant about you being out all goddamn day and coming back and Chiz having done nothing and everything looks the same, not cleaned
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I just felt like I would leave all day, and granted, I guess the people who are staying behind might be like, wonder what he's doing all day, but I was fucking hunting. Like I'm just out in the woods, and like the place is 17,000 acres. I don't know if you can picture that, but it's so big that I could drive for 4 miles and still have plenty of room to go, and then get out and hunt. And there's like tons of spots along the way, so I would drive a little bit, get out, hunt for half an hour, and I would repeat that process. And sometimes I'd stay for an hour, sometimes I'd stay for half an hour. Sometimes I'd just park the truck on the side of the road and walk out 20 yards into the woods.
So do you want to watch just
would
your
love
confessional, or do you want to watch the confessionals from day 3? Yours
I would
is
like
second.
to watch. I would like to watch all of them, but it's your call.
There
Oh.
should be a tease. Like a tease to watch the rest of them on their own. I know
You should
Kyle's
just cut
is
it out
good. I
halfway.
don't
Yeah.
All right, we'll watch just Kyle's then. And you know what? Let's watch Kyle's and then go on to mine, because I bet you'll find that I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to talk too soon, but I bet I'm like a totally cool guy, in spite of the fact that
Like-
Kyle goes and like, whatever, drives around in his truck, hunting.
You sat in your truck for 5 hours charging batteries with the engine running, eating
Yes.
cookies. I drove to hunting spot.
Most of those cookies were gone. How'd that happen, Kyle?
How many total cookies did you guys eat? Like realistically,
I-
how many cookies and how many muffins?
There was a box
I
of
ate-
18 cookies. When I got to it, there were like 7 left, and I split them with the cameraman.
No, that's not accurate.
Do the math.
I think I ate 7 cookies total, and it was over a 2-day period.
I love that we're arguing
And
now.
I ate 2 muffins.
Let's watch Kyle. I have it queued. I have.
I'm 4126.
Yep. You guys all ready?
I
Yeah.
have an ad.
Sweet.
Supporting you. Get that money. Get that half a cent. Yeah. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Ready, set, play.
So what's today? Day 3?
Oh.
Day 3. Day 3 was the worst day. I think tomorrow will be even worse though. It's been awful. I got up again this morning, like super early. Well, I got up this morning at 9. And went hunting again. And I don't know how far I walked. I got in the truck and I drove around again and just hit up like 6 or 7 different locations, I guess. I stopped at 5 and got out and walked. And then there were like multiple times where I'd pull over and kind of sit there and look around and see if I saw anything. Just didn't see anything. So that's super frustrating. The bugs seem awful tonight. No food. No food from out here yet, and that's been awful. I think we really would fucking die if, of course, we're limited to what we can shoot. I feel like if we could shoot deer, like we'd overlook some of those fields and probably shoot a deer. But in any case, it's been rough. Chiz didn't do anything today. I think he literally did nothing. I went hunting. Woody went to the car and charged batteries. Got back, and I don't think Chiz did anything today. And I think Woody charged batteries today and took care of the water and the fire and all that. But as far as complaints, they keep saying that I'm disappearing and like going home or something. That pisses me off because I feel like I'm working harder than anybody to actually try to get some food. And I'm like busting my ass out there walking around sweating, and when I get and they're like texting me like I'm at the 4th spot today, you know, like I'm texting back to let everybody know that I'm having trouble hunting, and Woody's like fourth trip to Taco Bell, so that pisses me off because I feel like they're making fun of me, that or they're just think I'm actually leaving, which pisses me off as well. So I think tomorrow I'm gonna get Patrick to come with me when I actually go hunting, so that'll be good. I'd like to see what everybody else is doing while I'm out hunting, because I get back and there's no firewood. There's no like all the water bottles certainly aren't full. Nothing has changed. So like I feel like I'm leaving every morning and like busting my ass for 3 hours to no avail. I'll admit. And I get back and they've been sleeping all day or charging. I mean today there was charging batteries, which I don't know. You get to sit in a truck with air conditioning the whole time and charge batteries. That didn't seem that hard. So yeah, that's where I am. I feel like I'm busting my ass and trying real hard, and meanwhile nobody seems to appreciate it. And Of course, not coming back with any food, so there you go. That's day 3. Day 4 is tomorrow. We'll film some of the hunting, which is incredibly boring. It's going to be me sitting on a rock and looking angry, kind of like right now. So that's tomorrow. And then the next day, I get to go fucking home. I get to go home. I get to with my girlfriend. I get to take a shower. I get to eat some good food, and that'll be nice. So I'm really looking forward to the end of this thing. I think this is my last survival trip. We'll find something more fun for me to do next time, and something at least as fun for you guys to watch next time. But yeah, that's day 3.
All right. So this is our third night here. We just have Thursday and Friday in front of us.
Don't remember what I
Different
say.
than the last two, I'm going third. So I'm sitting here wondering what they said in their confessionals. I feel like I talk about Chiz in every one of these. He said something to me this morning that stuck in my head. He was talking about the chicken and what a good friend the chicken was. And he said that Henrietta, one of the chicken's names, accepts him for who he is. And the implication there was that I don't, and I keep trying to take his cigarettes away or fuss at him or something. And
Look at those cats.
it's been buzzing around for me, like, gosh, should I accept him for who he is or try to make him better? And, trying to make someone better when it's not their own personal goal is a fruitless effort. He is also staying in my house, and there's no smoking there, so that's the thing. I thought that he would stop already. I thought that his last cigarette was on the bus. I didn't realize he planned on picking it up again on the trip, and for months now, actually, he's been about to stop, and he can stop anytime, and he hasn't, so that's a thing. But enough about Chiz. We went back to the truck today, which was my first time since we left it on Monday, to charge the batteries for the camera we're using right now and phones and stuff like that. And that was really nice. I hung out with Patrick for a while, the cameraman, got to know him better. I haven't eaten much. You guys know that guy delivered some, basically junk food, like cookies and muffins and stuff. So I have had a little of that, but I've got plenty of water. That much is easy. There's a creek here, but and I have a water filter, which is breaking. I'll circle back to that. But
I think any second now.
It's getting to be that I don't feel
You
well when I
spot
first
like
stand up. Like I get a little
an
dizzy,
animal. I'm not
but
sure.
it passes quickly, and then I'm kind of fine. As a matter of fact, sometimes after I'm up for a bit, I'm actually in good spirits, and I'm not as hungry as you might think. I swear, I've got poison ivy and bug bites. I've been at home, and when the gap between lunch and dinner is too long, I've felt more desire for food than I feel right now, which I didn't anticipate that. So, I am having issues. I'm a little smaller. I can feel the way that this shirt feels is a thing. But the biggest thing is I'm kind of getting dizzy when I first stand up. But we haven't found any food. Kyle goes out hunting every day, I think, and he hasn't even seen anything to shoot. I caught those crawfish. Something just buzzed, and but that really wasn't food. I thought it was, but shucks. I think if I was to eat crawfish as a meal, I'd have literally 30 of them or something. I mean, there's hardly any food in a crawfish. Oh God, the freaking rainfly. If you didn't see my last confessional, I vowed to not mention it today, and I actually didn't. I think I did talk about it with Pat privately in the truck about why am I hanging on to this? But after we got back, I was all sweaty and stuff from the hike to the campsite, and I went to the creek to take a bath. And they had taken the rainfly, laid it on the ground, put a bunch of cigarette butts on it, some other random trash. They took baby wipes and rubbed it in the mud to look like they had wiped their butts with it, and put all that stuff on the rainfly. And I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I literally was I can kick your ass. I can and will kick your ass, or something close to that. Chiz was looking down, and I was like, look me in the eyes. I will fuck you up. Or something similar to that. I don't remember the specifics. And they start laughing. It was Chiz's rain flight, and they had set it up as a prank. And I guess it's kind of fun. But I'm still thinking, like, all right, pretend it wasn't a prank, Woody. Was that the appropriate response? Probably not. But they got me pretty good.
Oh man, I love that so much.
Chicken. So I am not feeling any love for the chicken. I'm not eating much. I'm not cheating, and I'm hungry, and I'm getting dizzy. And while the chicken is fine, that chicken is food. I had planned on killing it yesterday. I'd planned on killing it today. And now they seem to seriously be talking about saving the chicken. They love that she eats bugs around the campsite and stuff. I love that I eat chickens. I've eaten so many chickens in my day. Good Lord. I'll kill that fucking chicken. It's food, and I'm hungry.
I'll
and
kill
I'm
that
feeling
fucking
sick
chicken.
a little. And I get that it's cute that we have a chicken mascot and everything, and I'm sure these are the happiest days of her life. She came from a farm, crowded in with tons of chickens. Now she's literally just pecking around the campsite finding insects. But I need to eat, and I gotta kill the chicken and get some food. I'm pretty sure we're gonna make it till Friday, which is nice. But we're not surviving really. We're just sort of dying slowly. Like, there's no food coming in. I lay around. I try not to burn too much energy. I get lightheaded. There's plenty of water though, and there's nothing that implies that we could do this indefinitely. You would just find some bones 3 weeks later, and that would be that. So overall, like, I think it's a pretty neat thing to have done, but I haven't proven to myself that I'm actually good at this or anything like that. I'm just, I guess, just durable enough to stick it out. I think it's only day 3, but that's what I think. So that's my confessional. I want to thank BattleBox for sponsoring.
All right.
Battlebacks.
I love it how he didn't even watch Chiz's confession.
Well, Kyle said that I would watch Chiz's confession. Was it good? Kyle said he wanted to tease it or something.
Oh yeah, true. So
Yeah,
people should totally go to the video now and watch Chiz's confession, right?
So,
Yeah,
dude,
he's very pouty in every single one. Every single one, it looks like you've just stolen something from him and broken it. Like, he just sits there and, well, no food again today, and got really wheezy. Had to walk to the bathroom, you know? Like,
We had a rough
did not
time
like-
out there. Like I know that it, we had the hammocks or whatever from BattleBox, and it wasn't a real struggle to start the fires because they sent so much fire starting gear. Like,
so much fire starting gear. We had
Yeah.
like 9, 12 different choices on how to start a fire every day.
that
That thing I'm wearing, that stupid necklace, it's a fire starter.
Yeah. Everything was so, but like, it still wasn't fun. It was really awful. There was just, I think, if you go a few days without bathing and eating any real food, you'll see what I mean. Maybe people do that for fun. Maybe some of you outdoors people really enjoy that. Like, yeah, I went 3 days without eating and snuck like shit. Like, but I hate that. I really do. I was really uncomfortable the whole time. Like, just didn't like it. And those creek baths were, you get about 75% of the shit off of you, and then you're really replacing it with like silt and a little bit of grit. And the humidity's so high, like, you just sweat right after anyway. There was maybe 2 nights I fell asleep and I didn't feel just so gross that, like, I would take my shirt off because, like, I couldn't stand for my skin to be touching my skin, and I would take my shirt off and, like, put it in my, like, armpits, like the shirt, so that my like arm wasn't touching my side, because that connection is so gritty and awful that it just makes you feel gross. Like, I didn't want my skin to be touching my skin because I was so goddamn nasty.
That's the worst
And,
feeling.
I
You
think
always
in-
feel like someone just salted you a little bit.
In one of my confessionals, I might even have said this. Kyle and Chiz just aren't built for discomfort, really. Like they don't like it. There are a lot of people, and I think I might be one of them, who just kind of like, all right, yeah, compartmentalize that. It's not comfortable. Whatever. Like there's other things to concentrate on. Kyle and Chiz are like, whoa, we got to deal with this comfort situation. I am not happy. This is awful. I can't find any joy in this situation as long as I'm not properly bathed and
Yeah, that's a
covered
big
with
deal for me.
Axe body spray or whatever.
I don't need the body spray. I could even I'm okay with BO even, but like it's the grit. It's the like the salty feeling and just the nastiness and the oiliness in your hair and your face and just everything.
When I was a teenager, I'm sorry to cut you off. In the summertime, there'd be days where I swam on the beach all day long and just in and out of the water, diving in the waves and body surfing and stuff. And then afterwards, for whatever reason, just live like this beach bum lifestyle. The next day, brush my teeth, and it's like, well, why would I shower? I'm going to the beach right now, and I would just do that. And sometimes that would go 3 days, like between showers, but heavy ocean time. Right, like 4 hours of ocean.
Yeah, I love that smell.
Yeah. Oh, I had to wear deodorant and stuff, but I don't know what to tell you. I thought it was cool to be a beach bum, so when I was camping, and it was like a couple of days later, funny, you described it as like 75% clean. Yeah, I'm like that, like. You ever have like an odor or something that totally reminds you of a situation from back in the day or whatever? Like, there was just the kind of a feel of cleaning in the creek that reminded me of my ocean baths as a teenager. And I thought it was kind of cool.
It was refreshing every time I got in the creek and like got that. The water wasn't that cold, but it was cold enough to give me. Yeah. It would give me a shock. Like when I'm like splashing it on my. It reminded me of like that movie. It's got Chris Farley and Chandler from Friends, whatever his name is, and they're like trying to beat Lewis and Clark across to the West, and it's frontier comedy kind of thing, and Matthew Perry has this black like manservant, and meanwhile he's taking like a hot bubble bath in a tent on this awful journey, and the slave's like, oh, I see. Well, I just washed my genitals in the freezing cold river water, so I wouldn't know. And that's how it is. Like I felt like I'm just like every time I'd splash the water over my head and my ass and balls, I was just like, ah!
Yeah, Kyle. We're at camp. He's like whatever 100 yards away in the thing, and he's like, I grabbed my shotgun. Like I wasn't sure he was like, I'm coming.
They got him. There was one scene in it where. It was like I was just skipping around, so I don't know if there was a like lead up to this. But Woody, I think you mentioned, or Kyle saying like, yeah, Chiz threw the rest of his pack of cigarettes into the fire last night, so he's all out. And I wanted to know what conflict and strife made him throw them out, because there's no way that he just did it on his own.
The box was empty.
Yeah. Oh. He smoked them all, and there were no more.
Yes. Yeah.
To his credit, like he was pointing out, he was like, "It's an appetite suppressant." He's like, "I smoked 2 of these, and I'm not hungry anymore." I'm like, "Give me one of those motherfuckers." I smoked 2 of them too. Like the idea of that cigarette as an appetite suppressant was extremely appealing. It was like, so you're telling me a cigarette's almost as good as taking a bite of food? Yeah, you give me those.
Yeah, Kyle's an ex-smoker mostly, and he had a couple cigarettes. But it was Chiz who was surrounded by like 20 or 30 butts.
I think I smoked 2 during the trip, but he smoked all of his cigarettes. He had a couple. He had a few packs.
Honestly, appetite suppressants, that would have been really desirable.
They should be in the
that
battle
situation.
boxes.
Like if someone had a bunch of Adderall, be like, fuck it. I got nothing to do but sit around and not burn energy. Give me one of those. Like, not going to be hungry forever. But, yeah,
you can
what
get
a real
really
shit situation.
I've gone all day without eating on Adderall, but then like that night you can have a really bad crash if you don't actually get some food. So I don't know, because you like go crazy, you burn all your energy, and then it's like nothing's left in the tank. But yeah,
you'd be like tidying up the edges of your campsite for no reason.
Out there,
weird,
out there
compulsive
hacking
stuff.
the grass,
digging graves, right?
Yeah, digging graves, yeah.
Just in case someone dies,
There were. I'm glad that thing's over. I guess I'm glad we did it, because I haven't looked at, I've just seen the videos that we've all watched together tonight. I'm going to sit down and watch them all, because I think they're going to be pretty funny, especially like the moments that I remember specifically. And then again, the moments that I don't have any recollection of, the ones I wasn't present for. So I'm looking forward to seeing them all, but I don't want to do that shit again, even a little bit.
The
I think the next thing we should do should be fun.
go-kart racing with fans.
Yeah,
Go-kart
do
race.
that.
Like you have food.
Yeah, I want to be eating a slice
Amsterdam
of
trip.
while I do the adventure. Like
I
whatever it is.
want to eat the banana and throw the peel. Let you spin out.
Or if I'm able to go on one, and we do a survival, I want it to be somewhere that one person in the group is a complete expert. Like we'll do it like right on the beach, and then Woody will be so eager to show off his merman status out there catching things
with a spear in
surfing.
his hand.
Patrick, over here. We got like 6 hours of you, Woody. I'm just gonna film them for a bit. No, I got it. And then it could just basically be a vacation where me, Kyle, and Chiz enjoy some, beachside beers, and you bring us lobster, fish, what have you.
That I would do on a beach. Like I like to go to the beach at nighttime when there's a big blanket to stand on, so I don't get all sandy, and there's food and alcohol and women. Like that's what I like about the beach. None of that sun, sand, or salt though. Like all of that's bullshit. I really do feel that way 100%. I hate the ocean so much.
We could catch all the crabs that run around. Can you even eat those nasty little things? I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
They're
They're
easy
like
to
Khal
catch.
Drogo. That's like poison water that my horses can't drink. I don't want any part.
Carl Drogo. I love that you pronounce it that way too.
I said Khal Drogo.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. I thought
Yeah.
you literally you called him Carl for my benefit.
That was one of the funniest little slips of the tongue you've ever made, though. The idea of Khal Drogo, and then I saw someone on the subreddit like made a Khal Drogo like image, and then like Khal Drogo's like this fat slob with a mustache, but he's dressed as a Dothraki.
You married Khal Drogo? No, I married Carl Drogo. He's in accounting.
You know Khal Drogo? No. Khal Drogo, the plumber. Like,
Yeah.
I love that. That was good.